Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 170. Can you start a VA side hustle without telling your boss?
Yeah. Can you, Joe?
I mean, you could.
Whether we recommend it is a different story altogether. Before we get into that, though, just to kind of set the scene somewhat, during Launch in 30 Days, our signature course, the first time we delivered that to our first bunch of launches, we came across a term in there that some of the launches were using about their soon-to-be virtual assistant business. And that was that they were wanting to do a soft launch, which was kind of like we'd heard of the term soft launch, but I don't think we'd heard it in the VA space.
No, we hadn't. We were like, oh, soft launch.
Soft.
That's not the name of the course.
Oh, this is like we're launching it in 30 days. This is like, here, what's this soft launch? I think there was a little bit of fear involved sometimes for those that were using this term soft launch. Others, it was a valid way that they want to start up their business. So them, soft launch means that they were very, very happy to continue in their 9-to-5s, and for the foreseeable future, any VA clients that they were to onboard, it would be after hours, which, hey, it's doable. The virtual assistant side hustle is an absolute thing. It's very, very common. However, that then led to the question, do I have to tell my boss about my new side hustle?
If you don't, it is absolutely going to hold you back. Like if your goal is to not just have a side hustle, but actually make this something that is your full-time business where you resign from your job and you transfer to being a VA business owner, then it's going to hold you back.
Oh, how can it not hold you back? We talk a lot about honesty in this podcast and the various courses and programs and stuff we offer. Honesty is really, really important. When you are honest about everything there is to be honest about, there is no surprises for anyone. Nothing's going to bite you on the bum later. And we've seen this. We have seen virtual assistants that have made the decision to not share their VA goals and dreams and plans with their managers and bosses, only for those managers and bosses to find out anyway. Now, that is a discussion, a conversation that you want to avoid at all costs. Talk about awkward.
Tracy Locke actually talked about this on a previous podcast episode when we interviewed her, that this exact thing happened to her, and she said it was her biggest regret.
And Tracy doesn't have many regrets in business. Like, she's done incredibly well. Yeah. Biggest regret was not being open and honest up front. Now, the reason so many aspiring virtual assistants feel as though they can't be honest and have this discussion and share this with their managers is because of their reaction. What are they going to do? Can they fire me? Are they going to be really, really angry that I've got this other interest? I've got this outside goal that they're going to start pushing me out?
Are they going to treat me differently?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense. Human nature. We're going to try and avoid conflict. Many of us, aren't we? So, yeah. I mean, this is going to take some courage to step in and have this conversation with your boss. And I think we make all sorts of assumptions about what someone else is going to think and say. And it always is that we think that it's the negative. We focus on the negative, they're not going to be happy. We start telling ourselves all of these stories about how it's going to go and what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, what evidence are you basing that assumption on, that they are going to react negatively? Have you seen them react negatively to something similar with a colleague or with you in the past? Now, in that case, that possibly is the only way that that assumption has got some grounds. But if not, you could just be making it up. It's just in your head.
Yep. One of the things to think about if you aren't going to tell your boss is, how are you going to find clients when you can't publicly say that you are a virtual assistant looking for clients? How can you update your LinkedIn profile, which is one of the main ways that we see virtual assistants getting clients is through LinkedIn? How are you going to do any of the finding clients without them knowing?
Do you think that you are going to be able to create a couple of social media accounts or even a website and not mention your name or have a photo of you? Now this is possible because we see virtual assistants doing this, but we also see those virtual assistants that are hiding behind a business name and a logo not do well. With no personal brand, no personality, there's no like, or trust. You're not building relationships. And that is really important in this industry.
Yeah. So what we want you to do is get the courage to tell your boss what you are wanting to do. And there is a certain way to do it, some language to use, and remembering that your boss is going to care about how it's going to affect them.
So we're making it about them. We're making it about them, Jo, really.
Absolutely, yes. When we are having the conversation, we want to make it all about them and not about you, which seems so bizarre.
So think about what your boss cares about.
They're going to care about whether you're going to continue to do a good job in your role.
Yeah, they are not going to want you to be having your own work phone and dealing with their work phone, answering their phone as well. They don't want you to be spending any of your time while you are in that 9 to 5 on your business, which is fair enough.
Yeah, they're paying you for your 40 hours or whatever it is. You need to make sure that they know that won't be affected. So actually naming that.
Yes.
Saying, I will continue to commit my 40 hours to my job. I want to do a really great job for you. This is not going to have any impact on that because I'm only going to deal with my business after hours and on the weekends.
Yeah. The other thing that they're going to care about is that you're going to leave them in the lurch, like just up and disappear one day.
Yeah. So giving them some comfort that, hey, I'm going to build this up slowly. I don't know when it's going to take off or how this is going to all play out, but I want to commit to letting you know and giving you plenty of notice about how it's going and down the track, if and when I might resign.
Yeah.
But my plan is to XYZ.
Yeah. Probably another concern for some of them might be that you're going to steal their clients, depending on what your 9 to 5 is.
Yes. So naming it, reassuring them, hey, thought about what you might be concerned about. And one of these concerns might be this. Would that be valid?
Mm-hmm. Great language.
Oh, no, I trust that you wouldn't do that. Or Yeah, that is actually a bit of a concern. So then reassuring them, naming it, saying, your clients are your clients. This is how I'm going to find my own clients.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that there's no conflicts.
I mean, a boss that has that concern, chances are there's something in your contract with them anyway that would stop them. If that's something that they are concerned about, they'll be making sure that any employee that works for them is covered in terms of, not stealing their clients and going off and doing their own thing. Which kind of leads us to, if you need to check your contract with your employer to see if there is a clause in there about this.
Yes, get really clear on what you can and can't do, because you don't want to overstep those boundaries.
So, be honest. Have that brave conversation. Look, you are probably going to be quite surprised at the response you do get. Like, a really great manager, a really great leader is going to want you to be happy and successful, however that looks. And also, I mean, we're 2023. At this point, side hustles are so common.
Yeah, I don't know what the percentage is, but I bet that percentage is growing by the day. We have the internet. We have the ability to start a business so quickly and easily nowadays that there is a growing number of employees who have other streams of revenue, and a side hustle as a VA is a great option.
Yeah, it really is. Like, if you're really, really worried about this, I mean, you just have to look at the numbers in terms of you are not the only aspiring virtual assistant that has been in this position. So the majority of them have had the conversations and the responses have been positive. I personally have never heard of a virtual assistant that has had this conversation with their boss and it ended badly.
Other than Tracy not having the conversation and then having to have a conversation, a forced one where you're not in control and you're on the back foot, like, you don't want that conversation.
No. And down the track, like, if you are doing a really good job for your 9 to 5, who's to say that they won't become a client of yours? Like, we see that happening all the time as well.
Yeah. My previous workplace was my first client.
Yep. So keep that in mind. That's not going to happen if you are not honest about it.
They're definitely not going to be clients.
Yeah, that is not the outcome you'll get if you're not honest. So can you start a VA side hustle without telling your boss? Look, technically, yes, but we would have very, very strong concerns as to how successful you will be getting clients if you are having to keep it a secret and hide.
Yeah. So pluck up that courage. You've got to go do it. Book in that conversation. Prepare what do they care about, and then talk it through with them. It can be as simple as that. We know it's not easy, but it can be as simple as that. All right. If you have enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to review us, Sam and Joe VA Show, on wherever you are listening to this podcast. If it allows you, we know that not all platforms do. Otherwise, put in a rating for us. We would love to share this message with more and more people. And we have a lovely review from someone, NCC ! We don't know who you are.
Who are you?
You have given us an amazing review. This podcast became my go-to every time I plugged headphones in. So much knowledge and got you thinking constantly about improvement and creating change in your business.
Love that. Thank you, whoever you are.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the VA Foundry website to check out the mastermind and the amazing resources, courses, and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.